to get the welcome to the January 27th, 2022 Village Board meeting. We're going to open up the meeting now. Obviously, we don't have the flag to say the pledge. We are going to open up the public forum for any comments to the Village Board from anyone listening.
Is this us?
No.
Oh,
yes, this is. So we have two people registered. I didn't have anybody else, but if someone shows up and wants to, but the first two speakers will be Jody Lauer and Mrs. Schlonsky.
Hey everybody. Hi, I'm here to talk to you about our February event that we have running. I don't know if you've seen any signs of it in the village, but it's called Fall in Love with Webster. I'll give you a little bit of a backstory. My daughter was at a wedding in Connecticut, went a small town like Webster, and they had an event called Fall in Love with Bridgefield. She came home and said, wow, that looks like Webster. So Lisa and I have been going to bid meetings. We decided that we were going to give it a try. So we looked over the calendar for February. There were quite a few events that, spanned over different types of holiday things that would be pertinent to a lot of different businesses like Super Bowl and Valentine's Day, Random Acts of Kindness Day. So we got started. And we have two, if you look at you have your little calendar in your packet, I think. On the back of the calendar, it gives you the two levels of involvement. It's the trivia game. Everything is free of charge. The trivia game, the businesses are just putting a piece of laminated paper facing street side or parking lot side with a question and an answer, something about their business, themselves, product they sell. And Lisa and I will be collecting everything, and then we're having a trivia night at Barry's on the 23rd, on Wednesday the 23rd, and the subject matter will be everything from the trivia game. So everybody they were a little leery at first, but now they're all jumping on board with different ideas. The second option of involvement was the village calendar. Again, it was optional for everybody, but it's been extremely well received. The calendar, they could choose anything that they wanted. They could advertise something they already do, or they could create an event or whatever, but we left it kind of up to the different businesses. Currently, we have over 50 events from the different businesses. Lisa is the guru of social media, and she has made up a Facebook page for us called Fall in Love with Webster. So if you haven't seen anything about this yet, you would want to go on. It's really cool. And the third level of involvement is we ask everyone in the village basically to decorate their storefronts to let people know that they're on board for this. So do something with hearts or Valentine stuff. And Lisa and I ordered banners, had them made from a woman. And these are going to hang from the lampposts. We have 24 of them. They're going to hang from the lampposts along Main Street, and Jake is going to be putting those up before the 1st.
Very neat.
Yeah, it should give it a lot of, curiosity. I know I don't have much time, so I just want to give you a quick couple of highlights. Number one, we have people on board like Maplewood. We wanted to figure out something for the residents. So Maplewood residents are making bookmarks in their little art class, and we're selling them at Lala's for $1, and the proceeds are going to go back to Maplewood in the way of buying more arts and crafts for them to do maybe for the rest of February or for March, whatever. But the first shipment of bookmarks came in, and they are so cute. They're really putting a lot of work on it. So lots and lots of different activities planned for the different businesses. One thing that was unique was Kittle Burgers, of course. They chose Random Act of Kindness, and they are doing a merchant-to-merchant Random Act of Kindness. If the merchant calls Kittle Burgers by the 5th, they let them know that they're interested, and Kittle Burgers is providing small bouquets for each merchant to hand out randomly to customers or staff or whatever. And that is going to be, they've got it all organized where they're going to be in charge of pickup and everything. So, and lastly, on our front, we have Lala's is having Betty White Ladies Night. That is going to be in conjunction with JoJo's, who is going to be making Betty White's signature cocktails. And we are also bringing in the animal activists. idea because Betty was a huge animal activist. There's a Webster author who just wrote a children's book, and she is on board. She sent 2 signed copies of her book, and so that's going to be part of our night. And it's ladies, but I guess it's not totally ladies because Jake Swingley says that he has a Golden Girl T-shirt, so he may be able to come. So, yeah, and Carl says he's coming. Okay, that's all I have. Did I make it? How many?
Yeah, I mean, if you have more to say, you're fine.
No. I want Lisa to also, if anyone has any questions, please, whatever.
Obviously, none of these ideas were Carl's, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. He's just not taking credit for anything, though.
When is that Betty White night at JoJo's? I don't see it on the calendar.
Well, actually, I'm in the process of still adding events because there's so many events that I haven't even had a chance to enter in my own event. But what's happening is that they'll come to the shop for 2 hours, receive a coupon, and be able to go next door to get a free Betty White drink, which her signature drink, I guess, was a vodka martini with lemon. So, and I think we're going to have a non-alcohol version of that as well. So I am constantly adding events. The overall theme or the message that we're getting from all the merchants is that they love this idea. I've been trying to think of a way how, as a resident who may not realize all the different businesses that are in the area because they're not used to Webster being so business oriented or populated. Like it used to be really busy, and now it's not. Now it wasn't for a long time, but here we are again. And as a resident, if you have to touch upon all these different websites, it gets overwhelming. So we have to take the funnel and bring it down to a point. And that's how I came up with creating the website or the Facebook page. It's not a group. You don't have to join it. You can just follow it and get all the updates. And I ask everyone to go there and take a look because there's a lot of fun things on there.
The calendar that we gave you is just a blank calendar with a couple of the internet ideas for celebrations. And so that's what we presented to the merchants when we first went and met them. And then they have been getting back to us with their ideas. One quick example was even Orville's Appliances in and said, well, we won't be able to do a calendar event because I don't get my calendar or my sale information until the day before it breaks. And I said, well, it's up to you. It's optional. And then he called and he said, we've got something. I said, okay. He goes, we're calling it Appliance Amore. So, it's fun. Everybody's just having fun now. So it's been heartwarming. And it's, Missy wrote a blog about it today, and it's front page in the Webster Herald. So there's a great article in the Webster Herald by Colin if you're interested in reading more about it.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
And it's on the fireman's sign.
Well, the feedback from the other merchants has been good.
Oh, it's awesome. But
Great.
more than I ever expected.
And the nice thing is that if they don't know how to create an event, we have, Jody and I have a lot of ideas, so we've been able to suggest a few things and like, oh, that's a great idea, etc. And if they don't know how to make a post or things like that, I'm helping them do that. The nice thing that's come out of this too is that while I've been working on creating their events, I have found some issues with some websites, so therefore that they didn't know. So when I send it back, they're like, oh, thank God, thank you, I've fixed these things. So that's been a nice help as well. And the beauty of this entire event is that it's free. There's no extra cost whatsoever. So if, just for an example, we could add the village meetings to this calendar, therefore it can be, seen and whoever wanted to participate. If somebody's having a winter camp, you can put it on there. Parks and Rec is on there. It's free. And then if all you do is send out some kind of communication to your customers and say, hey, Fall in Love with Webster, and then next thing you know, you see 30 other merchants post and tag Fall in Love with Webster, you've just expanded your customer base.
Right.
And the village is kicking things off with a really cool idea about secret admirer challenge. So that's on there also. They're just challenging the residents to be a secret admirer during the month and come up with different ideas. So lots of fun and different things. So check it out. And if you have any questions, all of our information is on the back of that sheet, and we're, more than willing to answer anything. And if we skipped anybody, it certainly wasn't intentional. The two of us have been face to face with over 35 of the business owners, so it's been time consuming. And Lisa has two businesses. Her new shop just opened, so Whimsies, and so she's really busy, but you'd never know it. She's very generous with her time.
Active. Very great. Does anyone have any questions at all for Jody or Lisa?
Just one other thing, after going to the bid meetings in the beginning, we were wondering why are they so poorly attended. So that was kind of our mission too, and we just had our first of 2022, and we've been pushing it with all of these merchants we've been talking to. Get involved. It's for you. It's a win-win situation. And the bid meeting that we just had at Webster Interiors had many more people involved and interested in signing up for things. So hopefully that'll continue to grow.
Nice. Anyone have any questions at all? Hopefully this is great and we can continue this in the future.
Yeah.
I think so. That's the beauty of the whole thing, is that it does not have to be a 1 month thing. It's a matter of people have events all the time, and it's just going to be a great way to share our resources as far as social media goes to help spread the word about Webster. The other thing that I have done, the last thing that I'll mention, is that I have several commercials on the radio, and I'm using one of them as a venue to help talk about Fall in Love with Webster and promote doing business in Webster, so I'm pretty happy about that. And I have sent the information over to Channel 8 because I have a commercial contract with Channel 8, so I'm hoping that will possibly get picked up as a feel-good news piece. We'll see.
I love it. Fairport's going to be nervous.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I think it's very important to live up to our motto where life is worth living. So if all of a sudden sales increase in Fairport, you can thank us.
Yes. Yeah. And we're going to be selling T-shirts too. So T-shirts will be at Lisa's with "Fall in Love with Webster." It's a really cute logo. So.
I wanted to show you the logo that we made. Is that backwards? Do you guys see it backwards?
No,
No, we see it perfect.
And, I always get confused, but the one thing that we wanted to point out is that it doesn't say fall in love with the village, don't fall in love with the town. It says fall in love with Webster.
I like
and our
it.
goal is to unify all of Webster.
Right.
Thank you. I've been trying to tell Carl that for years. Thank you.
Well, we're gonna make it happen. We've already had some people outside ask when they can jump in, so we figure, we'll just do it a little bit at a time, and if this really takes off, look out, Monroe County.
Yeah.
Very good.
So, thank you for your time.
Yes,
No, thank you.
very
Thank
much.
you for sharing this. This is very cool. We're very excited about it. Thanks very
Good.
much.
So we figured that the first day in March it's going to have to be some kind of weight loss event because between all the pizza and drinking offers and hot dogs and Super Bowl, I think we're gonna and Burke's Burger and then the dance.
Oh yeah, Burke's Burger.
Right. Just make sure to wear red that day. Kelly will give you $1 off.
Yep.
So it's been a lot of fun talking to people that you might not think we talked to. So it's been awesome. It's been awesome.
Great.
So all right, thanks guys.
All right,
Thank you again.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Time,
Jody.
everybody.
Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Heather.
How about March for weight loss?
Is there anyone else that has any public comments tonight? Heather, is there anyone else on?
I see Peter and one other person, if anyone has any comments.
Hi, Peter.
Peter's got a comment. Come on.
No, just good to see all of you. So,
Good to see you, Peter. All right, so we have no other comments. I'd like to close the public section of the meeting and get into our scheduled business. Moving on to that, we're going to jump right into the minutes from January 13th. If everyone had a chance to look at the minutes and review them, if no one has any concerns or questions, I would like to ask for a motion to approve the minutes from January 13th of 22.
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Trustee Lauer?
Aye.
Trustee Belkane?
Aye.
Trustee Ippolito?
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, moving along, we are going to, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the claims and warrants. Both Al and I have reviewed the claims and warrants this evening. I do not have any questions. Al, did you have any questions?
Oh, looks good to me.
Did you have anything, Carl?
No, I looked them over good. I didn't see anything that popped up. I didn't see anything that was questionable.
Yeah, it wasn't too much.
No.
All right, well then, in that case, I will ask for a motion to approve the claims and warrants.
I'll make that motion. I'll second it.
Trustee Belkane?
Aye.
Trustee Lauer?
Aye.
Trustee Ippolito?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. So we have next we have a discussion in possible resolution for server and IT upgrades. So I would assume I'm going to get some more information from either Don or Heather on this.
Yes. Joe and I both met with LMT, as well as Integrated Systems, and Ian from Smith Insurance to get a little bit better picture of how we would be covered under either company. And I sent you all his email response too.
Yep.
Not concerned at all about either one. But so mine and Joe's recommendation is that because with Integrated Systems, we actually have a great feeling about them again, and Don, I think, is comfortable with Smith's response. But because we don't know, they can't give us a number on what it will cost in terms of how many hours it will take to do the changeover. It could, we don't think it would cost 100 hours, which that's how they sell their block. It's $100 hours. The best rate is $85 an hour if you purchase the $100 block. They couldn't tell us how long they think it would take. So if we spend half that, we might end up spending the same amount. So we felt kind of a little bit more comfortable having the initial changeover happen by LMT. They gave us a 20% discount on both upgrades, which would be the cloud for just everything, as well as the email cloud. And so we'd like to move forward with having everything switched over to them. They know our system. It'll be more seamless because they already know our stuff. Integrated Systems doesn't, and then we'd like to switch to Integrated Systems after we do this change.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
One company to switch and then move over. That's interesting.
It's a lot more seamless once you're already on the cloud, and we trust them.
Does LMT understand that?
Yeah, that's interesting.
No.
We've known since last year that they know we want to. Our wish is to probably move, just because if you look at dollars and cents, it's clear that it is cheaper to go with Integrated Systems in the long run, just initially.
And they don't, Integrated Systems is aware that we may be able to get it cheaper somewhere else to switch over, and they won't meet or match that price.
Not necessarily cheaper, we just don't know what it will cost. They can't give us that answer because they have to get in there first. Like they told us multiple times, we don't know how long it's going to take, depending on how many emails you keep. They couldn't give us an answer, so we've already spent, I don't know, just if if we're buying one block and most of it's gone, then we're gonna have to buy another block, which is another $8,000. So, in the long run, it would be cheaper to switch to them, but, we just don't know what it would cost. But that's just my recommendation, you guys have to
Well,
decide.
you don't have to buy 100-hour blocks at a time
No, you
with
don't,
integrated systems.
nope, you don't.
And it's not $8,000, it's $8,500 for the $100 hours, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Just clarifying it. So after how many hours are you gonna buy after you switch over and tell LMT thanks but no thanks, and then hire integrated systems? How many hours are you gonna buy?
Well, we still, next year, or whatever, it's still our intention to buy the 100-hour block.
Well, it's not gonna be next year. It's gonna be as soon as you switch over to Microsoft 365. That could be next month.
But I thought we maybe wouldn't need as much, maybe similar to what you said, we wouldn't need as much if it was half the
Well,
year.
So again, because integrated system bills so much differently than LMT, it's difficult to compare apples to apples here.
It
So what is LMT's monthly regular service charge? Just to answer your questions, if something happens, they got to do this. They charge X dollars per month. What is that?
So if you want to jump on for that, it's decreased a lot. It's in your packet, the number.
Well, it's not in tonight's packet. It was in some other
Oh.
packet.
Sorry,
It was
not
in
in
some
your
other
packet.
packet. It was in some
Sorry, I got it last minute. Everybody else has it.
A couple of weeks ago.
No, Joe also got some more clarification, because we wouldn't need as many hours with them now with the cloud, so it decreased.
Yeah, but so what is it?
So as it stands right now.
It's 8,640.
A month?
No, that's the changeover
Yeah.
amount. So their monthly figure, as it stands right now, for both the MS 365 and the cloud, is $11.75. Now that still includes 6 hours of time each month. The assumption is that will decrease. So that $11.75 could very well end up being $9.75, because they won't have as much to do on a monthly basis that they have now with the physical servers.
Joe, the document we have in our packet has the 1175 crossed off, and it is written in pen. It's 1150. Is that accurate, or is it the 1175?
It is the 1150 because we reduced the number of users.
Okay.
So yeah, that's right.
And then because we didn't need 6 hours anymore because it would be less on-site visits because it's all on cloud. We're thinking we would need more like 4, so that drops it down significantly.
So Heather, help me here. I'm confused. So the 8,500 from Integrity is the guard to move to the cloud, and your LMT cloud server setup is 8,640. So
No, it's not 8,500. The problem is integrated services won't say it's going to take 20 hours to set up
but if it takes 100 hours, it's going to cost us $8,500.
but there's no way should take 100 hours. But
Right. So LMT's quote is 8,640.
we're going to be less.
That's what I don't understand.
Okay, that's for the cloud transfer.
That's
There's
only
an additional figure for the MS 365 setup.
Mm-hmm.
as well as the monthly fee in addition to that.
This is cheaper all the way around.
Well, I'm just making a recommendation. It's your decision.
Well, yeah.
I spoke with Integrated Systems today.
Integrated system. They still haven't quoted. There's a monthly subscription fee for Microsoft 365.
That's included with the LMT's quote.
No, forget LMT. I'm talking about integrated systems.
Okay,
They don't show that charge anywhere.
no.
So,
Which, if we continue with the model we have, it would be $100 per user with Microsoft 365. So a few of us, not everyone, a few of us are already on Microsoft 365 because Microsoft has gone completely to subscriptions. They don't want to sell you the actual program anymore. So there are a few of us that have Microsoft 365. We would have to transfer everyone onto it at $100 a year for those.
Right.
It's the same, yeah, it's the same if you go with LMD or it's because it's still Office 365. We're already getting the municipality rate.
Right.
Well, regardless, we have to make a decision on what to do with the initial server tonight.
Right, I agree, but I get concerned if one person's doing one end and then the other person's jumping in.
Yeah.
If there is problems, it does create an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
What do you got, Carl?
integrated
Speak to us.
system. They want right on the first page. It says payment in full is due before any project or support is started, and then it says purchase of professional service agreements are non-refundable. So it bothers me. I don't like paying for something before you even get it done. And then once they do it, what's it going to cost if extras are involved?
I'll also mention that Village of Pittsburgh has them too.
Integrated services? Integrated systems.
Yeah.
Dan, what do you think about the integrated systems offer?
Well, where were you reading from?
Right on the front page, the very first page of the integrated system.
Their professional services agreement?
Yes.
I didn't see that language that you just were reading from. Maybe you got something different than I got.
Yeah, Don, I don't think you have the updated packet.
Well, I've got something that looks like that, but
No, he has that.
Oh, he does?
He has that. He just
That's what
has
it says.
LMT because we
Oh.
got that very last minute.
I don't like that right off the bat.
Integrated systems.
I guess I don't have what you were reading from, so I don't know. But I just don't understand why you got to buy if with LMT you're using somewhere between 4 and 6 hours per month. That's anywhere from 48 to 60 hours a year. Why are you buying 100 hours from? Why would you want to even buy 100 hours from integrated systems?
Well, we don't have really. It's a lower rate.
Do the hours carry? If you don't use up your 100, do they carry over to the next year?
Yes. Yes.
Where does it say that in this agreement?
It says right here.
Well, I don't have what you're reading, so I don't know.
I don't know how you don't. It's right
It
here.
says banked unused time does not expire.
Okay.
Average response time less than 1 hour.
Well, and so as long as it doesn't expire, so you buy 100, it's good forever.
Well, we wouldn't just be looking at the monthly hours at this point. So if we go with integrated systems, we're going to pay, or I should say, we're going to use probably 50 plus hours for the sign up and changeover. Estimating the hours that LMT gave us, it was between 55 and 70 hours for them to do both the Microsoft 365 and the cloud. So my guess with integrated systems is they're going to require at least that amount of hours, especially not knowing our system at all. It will likely take 50, 70 hours to do.
Well, okay.
think we should stay with LMT.
But they're 50. You could get 50 hours for, like somewhere like $4,500. It's still a lot less than the 9,000 or 11,000, whatever it was that LMT was going to charge you. And I think Jerry's is a valid concern. You got one person doing the front end, and then somebody else coming in and taking over. That's generally not the way you do things.
No, it wasn't our fault.
With IT services.
Yeah. I guess we were just concerned we want it being done right, and we don't have as much experience with this integrated systems yet because we've not worked with them.
Well, but you say the village of Pittsford uses them. If you're that afraid of them, you shouldn't be considering them at all.
I'm not.
I agree.
I'm not.
Great, good point, Don.
If you don't think they have the expertise to do this, then
I don't think that. I don't.
well, then it's clearly. I think it's clearly cheaper to use integrated systems.
All right.
And it's just one person doing it both ways. There's no blaming or it wasn't us or wash our hands of it kind of thing. I think it just makes sense. Don't make Don upset. He's still a little sore from the Bills game. All right.
Everybody is, even if you're not a Bills fan.
No, I was very happy with that outcome.
So you're saying,
You live in Rochester. Come on. I'm a Dallas fan, and I was still sad.
we should go with integrated systems in that element.
If cost is an issue, yes. And it seems like Joe and Heather over the last year or so have basically been saying we want to get rid of LMT. Well,
That's also true.
Me,
Not
I've never said that.
well, then I don't know. Someone in the office kept saying they wanted to move away from LMT. I don't know.
It was Heather.
I do. Because it's a lot cheaper and they're more municipality based, but
Well,
yeah,
then
we
do
have
it.
a great relationship with LNT and they do a good job.
Well,
You can create
And sometimes you get what you pay
that's
for.
the decision.
and sometimes you get what you pay for.
Thank you, Joe.
Okay.
We need a decision. Por favor. Daryl is fine. He told me earlier he's fine either way. He's fine with staying with LMT. He's fine with if we decide we want to go integrated systems.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, if you really thought LMT was better for the village, then I would say you do the upgrade with LMT and keep them as your provider, not switch to someone else after they do the other piece. So that would be what I would say to you and Joe. If LMT's the better person, let's do what they want to do. And also, I love contract negotiation. We could say, listen, we like you, we like our relationship, but we're getting a little bit possibly cheaper from another vendor. Is there any way you can work with us on this price? I mean, those are things. If you want me to call them tomorrow, I'll do it. And
I would love to
willing.
do that. We have had several conversations with them, and they refuse because they know we're the only municipality they work with, and that's what's hard for me because they will not budge on price.
All right.
Well, they have already given us a 20% discount
Well,
It's still more expensive.
off of the setup and migration of information.
And they still seem more expensive, though.
But it still could potentially be twice as much as what integrated systems would charge.
yes.
Correct.
We don't know what integrated systems.
I'm just using based on your 50-hour estimate that LMT gave you. So 50 hours, a block of 50 hours from integrated systems is, well, their old rate was $4,250. I don't know what the new one is because I don't have that. But
And it does say a savings of $3,500.
Well, we'll also be saving.
the other
I
thing,
don't know
you
if
can
you want
always
to look this.
once your hours, don't buy maybe to start with, don't buy 100 hours. Just buy 50 hours. And then if you don't really like them, you can can them and go back to LMT or something.
Yeah.
Well, at that point,
It's a 1 year. I think it's what's the length of the contract?
There is no length in it. That's the, there is no term. It's
So
just
you
pay
can
up.
get out
It's
immediately.
just you pay up front for the hours. So if you want to cancel it, you can cancel it any time, but you're not going to get your money back.
Right.
well, I think switching and trying to switch back is a bad idea. I mean, if
wait.
we,
Well, if they do a totally lousy job, you wouldn't be willing to find another vendor. You're going to stick with them through thick or thin. That doesn't make sense.
no, but you're going to have additional hours to pay to switch back to somebody or to switch to a third party. So I think
I understand.
if we make the
Look, I'm just trying to address your reluctance to switch. So the suggestion is maybe don't buy 100 hours up front. Buy less than.
Okay. So
Then you're not locked in with them for as long a period of time.
yep. So is everyone on the board? Well, all three of us. Comfortable with a resolution tonight for the server and IT upgrades.
How much is the savings going to be roughly, Don, per month?
Well, it's hard to say per month because, again, integrated systems doesn't charge per month. They charge up front. But so you said
500, and then you see
right. So if LMT was charging $11.50 a month, that's times 12. That's like 150 hours, way more hours than you'd ever have to buy from integrated systems. Integrated systems is clearly less expensive than LMT.
I like it.
Okay, and it doesn't. We have there is a contract signed. So I'd assume if we make a motion to move forward, you can have Daryl sign on his return.
Is that the new contract, Heather? The one that, remember they said they had to get the ones printed out with 8,500?
No, I didn't get that one.
Yeah, so
Yes, it's in this packet that you gave me, $8,500.
I thought you didn't update it yet. Okay, I'm sorry.
That's right, I got your back. You just tell me what you need me to do.
no, that's the invoice. That's not the contract. That's not the professional services agreement.
They have to update that. It's still their.
It says quote on it. It doesn't say invoice.
Right. Well, it's a quote. That's all that is. A quote. You don't actually have the updated professional services agreement because I just talked to the guy. Heather, we talked to him yesterday, and they changed their rates for 2022, and they're still waiting to get their new contracts agreements printed. Right, that thing. That's the old one.
Okay.
So there's nothing for you to sign tonight.
Okay.
He said he'd get it to Heather as soon as they get them.
All right. So I'm going to ask.
It's identical except for in the boxes, in the box on the second page, the amounts change. So the quote, instead of $7,500 for the 100 hours, it's now $8,500.
All right. So I would like to ask the board of two and myself, someone for a motion to sign the contract for server and IT upgrades with integrated systems. Once we get the new contract tomorrow, Heather, I can swing in, or we can wait for Daryl. It's up to you. Or I can designate Carl to sign as my deputy.
I can do that. I make that motion.
I'll second.
Trustee Lauer,
Aye.
Trustee Balkane,
Aye.
Trustee Abolito.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Yeah, so just make sure the agreement lines up with the quote. That's all.
Yes.
Yes.
No problem.
Well, thank you for the discussion. Next on the agenda, we have a discussion on some upcoming local laws. And I'm assuming
Don, I just
that
left that on there in case you wanted to talk about anything else.
Huh?
Don, I just left that on there in case you still wanted to mention the other ones that are coming down the pipeline, but you can say that during your time if you want.
Yeah, and Jake's not here tonight, so there's really nothing to discuss other than the property tax exemption ones that are on the agenda.
Yep. Thank you. So we can move on.
Okay. So we will move on to the next agenda item, which would be, we would be looking for a resolution to set a public hearing on proposed local law number 2 of 2022 entitled "A Local Law to Extend the Benefits of the Cold War Veterans Exemption to Qualified Owners of Taxable Real Property Within the Village of Webster."
For February 10th at 7:10 p.m.
February 10th at 7:10 will be the public hearing.
So that's got to show up. The legal notice has to show up in next week's Herald.
Yes. Will do.
And just so you all know, the amount of the exemption, the 10%, or $8,000 multiplied by the latest state equalization rate, that's the same as what the town recently adopted, and it's the same that the county did whenever they adopted it a couple of years ago. So, because that's the minimum. Under the state law, you can actually grant a higher exemption than that if you wanted. Yeah, but it makes it kind of confusing for the assessor, especially because the village doesn't have its own assessor. Now she knows that for all three taxes, it's the same percentage, the same amount, the same exemption. Doesn't apply to school taxes.
Okay. Alright, so as for a motion to set the public hearing,
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Trustee Belkane?
Alright.
Trustee Abolito?
Aye.
Trustee Lauer?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Alright. I'm gonna go ahead.
Heather, just so you, on the draft of the resolution, first of all, everybody was present, and you gotta change it to delete Daryl and Jude because they weren't present. And then, I generally don't print the aye votes that Jake put in there, so.
Okay.
That was a bit presumptuous. So
Yeah, I just sent you an email, Heather, on that.
just so at the beginning of the beginning of the resolution where it says they were present, it's got the mayor, it's got everybody, but obviously everybody isn't here, so you got to change.
Put the I or nay on the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Alright.
Okay,
Still
well-
learning. Alright. So moving on to, I'm gonna ask for a motion here soon to set a public hearing for proposed local law number 3 of 2022 entitled "A Local Law to Extend the Benefits of the Volunteer Firefighters and Volunteer Ambulance Workers Exemption to Qualified Owners of Taxable Real Property Within the Village of Webster." This would be set for 7:15 on February 10th.
Correct.
Is that correct, Heather?
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll make that motion.
Well, hold on. Carl may have some question about this.
No, I'm okay.
You're okay?
Carol's on board with this. Cold War.
No, we're not on that. We're on the fire.
I'm one step behind you, sorry. Now I'm up to date.
Yeah, this is another 10% reduction of your assessed value.
And this does, do we even know how many, this affect a lot of people in the area?
About 5.
Within the village, I'm told it's maybe 5 people. You don't have to be a member of, like, the Northeast Fire District. You can be a volunteer anywhere and get it in the municipality you live with. How it works is they got to apply for it annually, and they have to get a certificate from the volunteer fire or volunteer ambulance company certifying that they're an active member. And they got to see that. They got to submit that certification to the assessor every year.
Do we see this in other communities? Is this
This just passed. This only became effective January 1st, 2022. The state, it's a new law that the state came up with at the end of last year.
It's not terrible, to be honest.
Well, they did it to try to encourage people to join, become volunteer firemen and firefighters and ambulance people, and then to retain them, because if you're a member for 20 years or more, it turns into a lifetime exemption, meaning after 20 years you don't even have to be active anymore because it lasts for the rest of your life.
Oh, wow.
As long as you got the 20 years in.
Okay.
So it's to try to encourage people to stick with it for 20 years.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad thing.
So again, Heather, you just need to make sure on the resolution, you change who was present at the beginning.
Yeah, don't have Daryl on there because I'm trying to count how many absences he's had, so then I would.
So
And Judy.
you're right. You got to strike Daryl and Judy there.
All right. So make those corrections, Heather, and then I will ask for a motion to set this public hearing for the 10th of February, 7:15.
I'll make it again.
I'll second it.
Trustee Belkane?
Aye.
Trustee Lauer?
Aye.
Trustee Ippolito?
Aye.
Motion passes. I answered you, but I wrote it. I said, will do. Sorry.
All right. I'm also going to be asking for a motion to authorize the village treasurer to pay an invoice from the town of Webster in the amount of $93,314.12 to satisfy the village's share of town Phase 1 STP improvements. So last night was part of this conversation. We were discussing this, so it looks like Don and attorneys must have come to some sort of resolution.
And a boy, Don.
Yeah, I think that's a good job, Don.
You got, Jerry, you did get the email from Supervisor Flaherty that said they accepted the village's offer. You were
great.
You were included.
That's great. I'm just giving you compliments. Just take them.
No way, Don. They don't want to beat up Charlie.
That's it.
I can let you know now rather than in a couple of minutes. They were not willing, though, to tie this payment in with a written something in writing acknowledging the village's right to use the outfall pipe. They wanted to keep those two issues separate.
So we don't technically have the permission yet.
Well, we don't have the express permission. The village has been using that outfall pipe for going on 50 years, so, it's...
Right.
The town would be hard-pressed to deny it at this point. And in fact, there's not even a valve, or they couldn't turn off the village's flow if they want to, because mechanically, plumbing-wise, that's not built into the system that way.
But John may go stick some socks or something up in there or something.
But in any event, so what they're doing is that the town is first having Rick Canale, who's the chief plant operator for the town, he's having having some discussions first with the DEC just to make sure that there are no, in the supervisor's words, negative consequences to the town and the village sharing the outfall pipe. And again, they've been doing it for 50 years, so I don't know what the negative consequences could be, but that's the way they want to do it. So they're having some discussions with the DEC first, and in those discussions, I guess, are actually continuing tomorrow. And after the town is satisfied as to what, if any, or that there aren't any negative consequences, at that point, the village, Jake, and it's Matt, I forget Matt's last name from LaBella.
Hatfield.
Matt Hatfield, is it Hatfield? Like the Hatfield and McCoys?
There's Chatfield and Hatfield, that's confusing.
They will then join in on discussions with the town and the DEC, and ultimately, we're hopeful to have a new IMA, intermunicipal agreement between the town and the village that would just govern the shared use of the outfall. Hopefully that can happen within the next couple of weeks, which would coincide with the funding that the village is getting from the Environmental Facilities Corporation.
Heather, I think there was a comment or question. I saw something come up quick. I couldn't grab it. Oh, we just had a comment that said we paid for part of the upgrades to the outfall pipe. That was for Mr. Elder.
Well, yeah, back in the town, Supervisor Flaherty knows that because I reminded him of that today. Back in 2011, the village paid part of the outfall pipe, I think, broke away and floated out into Lake Ontario somewhere. So they had to obviously repair and replace it. The village paid a third of that. It was somewhere between $300,000 and $400,000. The village bonded it. I think we're still paying off on the bonds for the village.
We are paying off on it.
Yeah. So again, that's just further reason why the town really can't or shouldn't deny the village the use of the pipe. Considering the village helped pay a third of the cost for it. But again,
They don't. That'll be
they
illegal.
want to make sure there's no negative consequences to the town first before they, we'll sit down with the village and work out an agreement.
So do we have a timeline on this, Don, or are we just letting this hang out?
According to Supervisor Flaherty, he's hopeful within, the first 2 weeks, hopefully by the end of February, we should have something worked out.
Okay.
It's mainly just cost sharing concerns, If future maintenance, future repairs, future replacement, how much is the village paying compared to the town? That's got to get worked out.
Right. They pay 3/4, we pay a quarter.
Well, our suggestion would be just to base it on flow. That's how we came up with the $93,000. So whatever the ratio of the village's flow to the town's flow at the time, whatever work needs to be done on the outfall pipe, that would be the percentage of the village's contribution. We think that's probably the fairest way to do it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Is this gonna get notified by a speedy permit at all? Does this have anything?
No, that's why we're doing it. We have to have the IMA because the DEC is making that a condition of the village's application for its own speedies permit. The DEC wants to make sure that the village's effluent has somewhere to go.
Right. Okay.
So it'll get done, and we'll end up with an agreement. But
All right. So I'm going to ask my board tonight of 2 for a resolution to authorize the village treasurer to pay the invoice to the town of Webster for the total of $93,314.12.
I'll make that motion. I'll second it.
Trustee Belkane?
Aye.
Trustee Lauer?
Aye.
Trustee Toledo?
Aye.
Motion passes.
and the town wants the money by the end of the month.
We don't cut checks to the mid of February.
Marcia's gonna make an exception.
We'll get it to them.
Out of the kindness of my heart, I will make an exception.
Marcia's here, and Marcia.
Take the cash over in a suitcase.
Yeah, in pennies.
I was gonna say
Payment
quarters.
pennies.
Oh look, Tom, the supervisor just got on. Hi, Tom. So, Heather, we got some budget modifications and transfers. I don't have that in my packet here, so I can't.
I don't have it either.
So there mustn't be any.
No, I put it in there.
I just went through every page.
Yeah, I don't have it either. I've got the budget to actual report.
Yeah, I would love to help you, but I don't have it.
Yeah, she's learning.
She's still learning. Give her time.
Hey, wait a minute. I did not. Those mistakes to the resolutions were Jake. He bumped
Come on.
up. I
Give her
didn't
time.
touch
It's
them
only been 6 years. She's still learning.
before. Well, this is why I don't accept last minute changes, Don, because I make mistakes to the packet. I specifically said that.
Wow, blame it on Don.
Please read your budget modifications. I swear you had it.
No.
Well, who's got it? Marcia, do you have them?
Well, because I took one out and we
Why don't
added
you-
one.
Can you?
Marcia has it.
Wait,
She's organized.
Heather, do you have it? Do you have it in a PDF document? You can share your screen
Carl's
so that
got it.
everybody can see them.
I got it.
Is everybody vaccinated?
Well, yeah, we'll get to that. About the February 10th meeting, better be in person with the public hearings.
Well, while they're getting pulled up, I can give you an overview. A couple of them are to accommodate
I had pizza time.
increase in pizza time. We've got pizza right there.
I'm hungry.
To accommodate the increase in health insurance premiums. So there's that. And we also are, I think I covered at some previous meeting how we have to kind of launder our ARPA money, our stimulus money. We can't use that to build.
Just another term than launder.
I know.
It's just
We can't use ARPA money to build reserves. However, we can spend the ARPA money on items that have already been budgeted for, and then take the money that we didn't spend on the budgeted things and put that in reserves. So that's what we are starting to do. There are some budget mods to move some of the ARPA money into sewer.
There you go, Heather.
Yeah.
Real quick, the original one was on there, and that was in the packet I sent out a while ago. And then because we got the last minute bill for the town, I thought it would be better to combine them so that it was all done together. So that's why the new one didn't make it in there, and I apologize. So here is the updated one
That's all right, learning curve.
at 90,000.
See, well, all there was one cup. And it was here. See the upper one.
All right, so I'll move down to the bottom one.
Yes.
All right, so you guys see this here?
Yes.
You want to move 1750 from contingency to health insurance. STP project, we want to take 93,314 fund balance to the town cost 93,314.12, which we already complimented Don for his excellent work. Then we want to recognize the ARPA revenue and use ARPA funds for sewer projects, repair and replace pipe, manhole, etc. for $53,285.96. Routing for $20,000. Instrumentation, what is that? Instrumentation maintenance for $69.25. And federal aid, ARPA,
Okay, we know you're new at this.
$8,210.96. Well, if it was in my packet, I would chance to review it.
Touche.
Man, Carl's eating pizza. All right. Does anyone have any questions about this?
Looks good to me.
All right. I need a motion to make these transfers, folks.
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Trustee Lauer,
Aye.
trustee Belkane,
Aye.
trustee Ippolito.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Ippolito.
It's a little late. The meeting's over.
Not yet.
All right. Budget to actual report. We got a little summary from Marcia on this.
Yep.
You know, Marcia, it's always good to see you.
You know,
Marcia left the building.
you guys
Where'd
are
Marcia
all
go?
and I get nothing. I get squat.
Whose email's up?
Mine. I'm pulling up the report if you'd like me to.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. I was just, you have a lot of personal emails. I don't want everyone to see that.
Oh boy.
All right. The only report I see is Don right now. I just see Don in my screen. Did we lose Marcia?
No, she's still there. She just muted herself.
Oh. She probably has this report right in front of her.
She does. Marsha, are you muted?
There we go. Yeah, my
There she
computer
is.
died and then I couldn't get myself unmuted. So what did I miss?
We got them.
We're ready for your budget or your budget to actual report. Does anyone have any questions for her?
No.
Hey, that was easy.
Carl's challenge. Just a cookie. I don't see anything that jumps out at me.
No questions?
Everything so far is pretty much as expected.
No, you don't need a vote or anything.
Okay. Thanks, Marcia.
Anytime.
All right. Moving on. I think we were going to ask our attorney if he has anything tonight.
Well, Jake and I, we are working on just a slight change to the noise ordinance to change the time from 8 a.m. to 7 a.m. That you can't be noisy until 7 a.m., but then sort of construction noises can start at 7 a.m. rather than 8 a.m. We should have that to you to set a public hearing for the next meeting. And then we're working on one for garbage to clarify how long people's toters and stuff can be out at the curb, because right now there are no parameters for how long things can be out at the curb. So we should have that one done pretty soon.
Man, we're getting strict.
Yeah. Well, there should be. Yeah. It's because, especially along Main Street, there was an issue. Someone putting their stuff out like 2 days before their trash hauler even showed up.
So, like when we have the parade and carnival, they put their chairs up 5 days in advance.
Well, I guess if you could consider their chairs rubbish, yeah, that would be a violation. But
Or their 48-foot trailer. mobile home parked in the driveway across from Cobblestone.
Well, that's a different violation of the code, but,
I know, but it's not a violation because our code officer said it's legal.
to be parked in the front driveway?
As long as it's registered, he says.
Huh. Well,
I really want to address that because there's several places around the village that have their trailers out in front of their homes covered up, just parked there. The one on Main Street, they're living in it.
No. Well, that's different than in the town. I know the town's code requires boats, trailers, RVs. They have to be even registered or not. They have to be parked on the side
Yeah.
of your, garage or whatever, or house. They're not to be parked in the front.
Right, that's why we're the village. It's one of our perks.
The village is so liberal.
It's really unsightly though, and I think people are doing it because they're not going to do anything to me about it. They just
Well, we can go on and on. I think it's unsightly to see all these Buffalo Bill flags hanging on people's porches, but you can't change that. Can't change everything, Carl.
All right.
Nobody in their right mind would hang a New York Jets flag or banner.
Or Patriot.
That would just be offensive.
Well, we can look at that, Carl. If you think you've got two other, trustees that'll support you, we can look at that local law to try to change that.
I think Jerry and Al would.
You do?
I know Jude would. But it's obstructing vision. It's unsightly. And there's more than one around the village that are doing this. I mean, there's nothing.
Jake and I will take a look at that, and we'll come up with a proposed amendment.
Good.
Oh, you're not gonna like that.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. And guess who's got a trailer in his driveway? Jake.
Oh, Jake.
That's what I said. You're not gonna like it.
Maybe I'll have to do it without Jake's input. But
Yeah, you don't have to.
Well, his is
All right, so I think
his house. This is in the side yard.
I think we can take that offline,
Yes.
so we can continue.
yeah, I've got nothing else.
Eat your pizza.
Can you work on it?
Yes.
He told you need to chat with two other board members, and then we can have it at the meeting.
Okay.
So call me tomorrow.
All right, I will. I'm calling
All right.
you.
Clerk.
Okay. The inexperienced
Auditor
clerk will
update.
go now.
What was that?
The inexperienced clerk will go now. Okay, so we have just a quick auditor update. I think we should keep it simple because the other two board members aren't here, unfortunately. But I'll let Marcia take over on this part. But basically, Freed Maxic is no longer accepting. They're no longer performing audits for municipalities. They basically, I think my understanding was they kind of lost a lot of money as they were charging not a lot. So unfortunately, they're no longer doing it. And Marcia has been working along with Tim Hungerford, who was our person that we contracted with to help us out, and she got some quotes. So I'll let her take over and just give a little summary if anyone has questions, and then we will provide you with the quotes before the next meeting.
Okay, so, my computer died just now, so I don't have the specific numbers in front of me, but I talked to, four firms that Tim gave us. He gave me the names of 4 firms. 3 of them are kind of in the same ballpark, and then one is far cheaper. And as Tim had predicted that, his comment was that this firm, Allied, will be the cheapest, and you will likely get what you pay for. So I kind of,
I'll do it now.
doesn't sound great to me. Of the other three, the one that Tim thought would be best for us also turned out to be that one and one other one were almost exactly the same price. And if I take over a couple of things like maintaining the depreciation schedule, then that can save us a little bit more money as well. So, Heather, none of the board has the proposals? Okay.
You were gonna wait till next time just because it was a lot to review.
Right.
Okay.
So if I recall, Freed was charging us about I want to say 18,000. And the one, I'm having trouble forming my words tonight. We're looking at paying around 21 to 22,000, which I guess is to be expected if Freed is leaving municipal audit work because they weren't charging enough to make it worth their while. We're going to pay more. So I guess sorry?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Without the proposals in front of us, the three top contenders look pretty similar in terms of what they offer and their experience levels, things like that. My recommendation would be to rule out the most expensive and the one that is kind of bargain. It sounds bad, but I'm going to say bargain basement, and go with the one that Tim is recommending most highly for us. That's Mengel Metzger Bar, which an MMB does. They're the auditors for the town of Webster, for Webster School District, for Brighton and Henrietta, Parenton, and a handful of others. All the ones we're considering have a number of municipal clients, but based solely, even if all we had to go on was Tim's recommendation, that in itself is enough for me. But my experience in conversation with the four firms that I talked to supports that.
I also, Marcia and I talked to each other about the Lolo company, and I mean, we do have one person, and this is something extremely important, so we can't really screw around with that. So we don't really want to go with the cheapest one because we kind of need someone there. You didn't really get clarification on what we would be missing out on yet, right, Marcia? With the cheap one, like if that means they would come there.
Yeah, I called him and said, your proposal is about half of all the other ones. How can you do that? And he pretty much said, well, they all must be overcharging you. Which, Al, you have your hand up?
Jerry.
Jerry? Anyway, so he wasn't able to spell out anything, but I don't know. Tim's comment that you get what you pay for, I think this is a place where we should not skimp.
Yeah. So we'll have more information for you next meeting in person.
And I would add, if ideally we could get the information out to you so that a decision can be made at the next meeting, because I would like us to get, once we've selected someone, I would like to get on the schedule ASAP so we don't have to wait until the fall again.
Which really screwed things up a lot, so.
Yeah, we still don't have our documents from last fiscal year.
Right. Okay, so we'll have whatever I have to do, I'll drive it to you, whatever I have to do, but, yeah, it is pressing because, we want to get on the schedule. So that's all we have.
All right, then did we have anything from code?
Aaron is here. I'm seeing him now, but I think he's here. If not, he's had some things going on at home, so we can just move past that.
Well, I do see now in the corner Aaron's iPhone. All right, Aaron, can you hear us? All right.
Okay, so we'll just move on. And the report is in there. He wanted to talk about he had a local law. Don, I don't know if you want to mention that, but you already did about the construction time. He just wants to change that to 7, and then he wanted to mention his recommending us go for the firefighters local law, which we did. So.
Okay.
We're all good.
Oh, there he is.
Okay.
Heather wants to get out of here.
Peter, send me that code again. The code number.
Carl, we're trying to do village business.
Nice flag, Al.
Thanks. What are we waiting on?
I think we're waiting for Aaron, right?
Aaron, you on?
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize you were. Yeah.
Anything going on?
No, just I believe you guys got a copy of my report. I, for some reason, cannot pull it up on my phone, so I apologize.
I don't see it in my report.
Yeah, we never got it.
Oh,
I got it. Look, I got
I
it.
have it.
It is there. It's on the last page.
We went through it.
Everybody else has it. It's right here.
oh, there you go.
Told them what you wanted to talk about. And your report is in there. They're messing with me.
Oh, good. So other than my report, for the most part, everything's going good. I do want to mention Country Manor is coming a long way. We've talked about that heavily in the past, so we will not need to move forward with them as of right now. So that's good. The only other things Heather mentioned, I believe you guys already touched base on, were the local laws, especially the noise ordinance one and the firefighter one. Those are time-sensitive ones, but other than that, I think that's it.
Any more change with the church mall?
Nope, that is still an ongoing thing. Actually, thank you. I actually did forget to put that in my report, I believe. That's still an ongoing thing, trying to make the repairs there. So the main part of the old church is still closed.
Okay.
What about the Suter, Summers, and Leiden former building that still has a stop work notice on the doors? Is that just sitting there doing nothing?
Are you talking right next to Village Hall?
Yeah, right next to Bremont Bistro there.
Okay, yeah, he's pretty much completed everything he needs to for the apartment. The downstairs, though, he hasn't pulled any permits. And it sounds like he's going to be soon, because somebody that's running for office, I think on the state, maybe federal level, they're going to be renting that for their local office space. So he's got to get that up to par here pretty quick, it sounds like. I know we're waiting on the engineer to redesign his steps and stuff that come out the front. So that's where we're at with that. But the apartment part is all set, but the downstairs is not.
Anyone else have any questions for Carl?
Go ahead.
Bring your trailer. All right, there's a report.
There it is, look at that.
us tonight, so we'll probably not have an update on DPW or sewer. The next meeting, village board meeting, is February 10th, 2022. And if we don't have any other questions or comments from the board or team, I'd like to make a motion to end our meeting.
Make that motion.
I'm sorry, I do have one other thing. Sorry,
Oh,
sorry, real quick.
Sorry,
John,
you're learning.
this is kind of a weird thing, and this is why it was on my report, and I skipped over it quickly. Or my part of it. I opened up an Amazon Prime card, which is an Amex, in my name, with my social security number, because it saves the village 5%, and we buy a lot of stuff on Amazon. So it's an Amazon. I know, but well, we did it. It saved the money a lot of money because we do a lot of purchases on Amazon. But so Don has just recommended that I just ask that if for whatever reason I leave the village because I'm an inexperienced clerk, I just need something and just a resolution stating that I will not be held liable for anything if I leave for the price. If the card will be closed and then a new one would be open.
Right. I don't recommend that you have a card in your name at now or any point. So I think that should be canceled, to be honest with you. It for your sake, more Heather, and as well as the villages, it just does not make sense. I don't know if anyone agrees or disagrees, but
Don, what are your thoughts?
well, yeah, many businesses, they have corporate cards. They're in the corporate name, and they may have, the principal, the shareholder, CEO, whatever, has to guarantee it. But the municipality, I frankly agree with Jerry. And the other thing, and I don't know if I mentioned this to Heather, but frankly, I think the village, to the extent they can, even if they pay a little more money, should buy local. Forget Amazon. Support your local businesses. If you're buying office supplies and that stuff, if you're paying an extra $10, so what? At least you're helping out local businesses.
A lot of these
So I wouldn't. Look, if it were up to me, the village would buy the least they could on Amazon. Bezos has enough money.
prices are a lot cheaper on Amazon, and I do agree with you.
Good. So what?
And it's available.
So look, over the course of the year, how much does this 5% that you say?
I wish Marcia was here. By the start of the year, we already could have saved $250, and that's
Well,
only
$250 in the grand scheme of things is nothing.
forget about the cost savings. We should not have a direct card in someone's name, and that's common business sense. And I know Peter knows more than me, and I know he's checking his head along with me. So I think.
Well, I can't close it down. That's going to be even worse for me. So we'll have to wait a little bit. But
What do you mean?
this closing a card will affect my credit too.
I know, but did anyone have a discussion about you doing this first, or was
Yeah,
it just?
Yes.
I never heard that you were going to open a card at an Amazon in your name. So I think we shouldn't be discussing this after it's done.
Well, I did. I spoke with Daryl about it, and we thought it would be a great savings. Marcia did too, and I'm sorry.
Heather, just the risk and stuff it puts on you as individually, it could cause you personal things. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I just thought I would be saving money for the village.
Yeah, like Don said, there's other ways we can do that, but put something in your name. Yeah.
Well, okay. Why? Okay. I mean, they make it more even for businesses, but I get it. I'm sorry. I can't.
Alright, so if there's a concern of you closing it out now and whatever, but maybe we can make sure we just don't use it. Don, you got any advice on that?
6 months, close it. Just close the account. There'll be a zero balance on it.
Or can't you transfer your card out of the village account and make it personal or something?
I have my own prime card. It was separate.
And I thought it was Capital One and not American Express.
It was Amex.
It's American Express?
Yeah.
Well, why wouldn't American Express has corporate cards all the time? Why wouldn't they put one just in the name of the village?
They tried. They had to have someone a social security number just to open it. It doesn't affect my credit.
Well, the village has a tax identification number.
They wouldn't take it.
Well,
If it doesn't affect your credit, then close it.
that's ridiculous.
I thought, well, that's what they said. Only if it defaulted. But I have heard that. Initially, they do. They run my credit. I don't know.
Look, it doesn't make any sense. If I'm American Express, I would rather have the village of Webster on the hook than Heather Halstead. The village is much better off for whatever the balance is than you are personally. So the whole thing doesn't make a lot of sense as to why they required an individual. You think they want municipalities? It's like a bottomless pit of money.
Okay. Marcia went back and forth with them asking, and they said they needed somebody. So we talked to Daryl about it, and he thought it was a good idea because of the savings. I was hesitant, obviously. But
What about, Canandaigua National Bank or whatever bank? The village does business with a couple of local banks, and they offer MasterCards and Visas, and
yeah, we have that.
but most of them all have the 5% off, the cashback stuff. See if they'll put one in the village name and get the cashback deal.
Yeah, you can have it. Our cards are corporate name, and then I can have every one of my technicians have their own name on their credit card, but it's still linked back to the corporate.
Now, just so you know, that's all of our first cards. They're all in our names as well, and they needed our social security numbers, and that was done from a long time ago. Just so you know, Joe can back me up on that. So all of our first cards, our Canandaigua National Bank cards that we use as a corporate card, has our social security numbers.
Maybe, yeah, and that could just be a security thing for use of card and stuff, but it's still attached to the village, not to Heather. You know what I mean? It wasn't.
Right.
It's never. Right. So that's Heather for you personally. That's not good either. So I think the best thing is let's put it in a lockbox and put a sticker on it, cancel in 6 months or something, and just don't use it unless someone else has a different opinion.
I'm striking out left and right tonight.
It's all right. We're learning. You're learning. All right. Is that it?
Yep.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Thanks for your honesty.
You're gonna thank me someday.
My intentions were good for the village. It had nothing to do with me. We saw us leaving, and I was
We
just
appreciate it. We appreciate you trying to look out to save us some money. You always got to check with Don when you do something.
Well, it should have.
I did ask you, but I don't
It should
remember.
have been authorized by the board in the first place.
Yeah.
Right. Just in case Daryl forgets.
Right.
What's that supposed to mean?
Okay.
All right. Anybody have anything else?
I'm not coming in tomorrow, just so you know.
Was this planned before tonight, or you decided during the
Nope,
meeting?
no, I need a break. Thank you. I had enough meeting. Good night.
All right.
Mike McCarthy.
If you submit PTO by 9, I'll approve it.
Done.
All right. I'll take a motion to end the meeting, and again, the next village board meeting is on the 10th of 2022. Thank you.
Thank
I'll
you.
make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Thank you, everyone.
Peter, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Hey, happy birthday, Peter.
Thank you.
35.
Some multiple.